Hello, I'm Daniela Elana, and you're listening to episode 48 of Historical Paranormal. In this episode, we'll discuss the legend of Charlie No-Face that is based on an actual story. The legend of the Green Man states that he glows green as a result of being struck by lightning or being shocked in some kind of industrial accident. He also haunts South Park of the North Hills, or the county lanes around Washington, Pennsylvania. The legend goes that he roams the hollows late at night and chases the parkers and the loafers, but the true story behind Charlie No-Face is a lot more somber. In early August of 1919, 8-year-old Ray Robinson was walking with his sister and a few friends in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, when they noticed a bird's nest perched atop a tree next to an abandoned trolley trestle. Wanting to get a closer look, Ray climbs up, but he accidentally touched a wire that had once powered the trolley. Almost a year earlier, another boy who touched the same wire died after 2 painful weeks, yet the power line was still active when Ray reached for it. He was severely electrocuted. His nose, lips, ears, and eyes were all gone or misshapen. His arms were maimed. One of his hands was blown clean off. Somehow, he survived. Doctors marveled, but Ray didn't have much of a life after that, at least for a while. If you look at old Victorian houses, so many of them have an isolated room with drains, plumbing, and everything. You need to live right there, said Tisha York, a documentarian who spent 3 years researching Robinson for an unreleased film about the Green Man. Back then, this was where families kept children like Ray. Things were different, and they kept people who were different hidden away from the world. Ray wasn't exactly mistreated, but he did get isolated and ostracized, even by his own family, who would eat separately from him. He tried to make the best of it. An avid baseball fan, he listened to every game he could pick up on his radio. He learned to read, Braille, and how to make wallets and doormats out of old tires. When he became a man, his family fashioned a small apartment for him out in their garage. He managed to dodge notoriety until he began craving a respite from the prison his life had become. He started walking the local highways, always alone, always at night. This is where the man became the legend. He would only leave his house on walks he took in the dead of night to avoid scaring people with his appearance. It was from these walks that the legend of the Green Man started to develop, when high school kids would spot him from their car walking along State Route 351. It's likely that the name Green Man came from how car lights would reflect off Robinson's flannels when they passed him at night. One Coppell resident of the time remembers seeing him on her way back to town from a swimming hole down the road. She recalls, "I was so scared, it was unreal." Though some people were frightful or cruel to him, others befriended the injured man and would bring him beers and cigarettes for his night walks. "We used to go out and give him beer," said then 60-year-old Pete Pavlock in a 1998 interview with the Post-Gazette. He stated that the people would often meet at the diner he worked at before heading out to try to spot the Green Man. He said people who didn't know about Robinson were often shocked and terrified at the sight of him. They wanted to call the police. You'd have to explain then that they'd usually go back up looking for him. Others would sometimes give Robinson a ride only to drop him off at a location he didn't know as a cruel joke on the blind man. Haluva Nice Guy said Phil Ortega, a Coppell narrative and schoolmate of Robinson's sister. In the same interview, Ortega remembered bringing his dates to see Robinson and bring him Lucky Strike cigarettes. Little more is known about Robinson's life other than he lived a fairly solitary existence. Robinson passed in 1985. At age 74 of natural causes, but though he may be gone, the legend of the Green Man and Charlie No-Face is alive today as ever. Warner says that the myth of Green Man still endures, saying right now it's a big topic in high school. The legend is still strong. What the legend of the Green Man or Charlie No-Face teaches us is that urban legends, like we learned in episode 47, are often based on believable but vague stories or loosely on reality or history. It also teaches us a sociological lesson that in the eyes of society, there's still a long ways to go for those who are disfigured, maimed, deformed, or disabled, and how, because he did not fit those norms and there was a lack of understanding, myth and legend was birthed out of Mr. Robinson's existence. Possibly, such a thing could happen again in modern times. Thank you for listening to episode 48. I hope that you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the 2 remaining episodes. Until next time.